Hi guys, welcome back to Prem Talk. Yet another video, and it's Club World Cup time, Africa chat, of course, and last round of group stage matches, I think, just completed early morning today with the final group games, that is Group H, taking place. And as usual, when this series started, uh, we the chat was only to be about how the African sides performed, and we sadly all of them got knocked out. So I'll just have a look back at how each team, of course, our African representatives, performed, and just take a look at some of the things that we learned interestingly about our continent in terms of this Club World Cup. So, welcome, guys. First things first, the first round of the competition, FIFA Club World Cup, is done, and we have seen a lot of interesting things, different matchups from different sides of the world. And if I were to gauge on how the performances have done and how effective the Club World Cup at least has been, at least by the group stage games, then it's a really good tournament. You get to see a lot of different variations of how different continents play their football games, and a few interesting facts, and different tactics here and there, and it was a very fun thing to watch. And with sadly all African teams have gone out. I believe all Asian teams have gone out too. uh, the Americans, that is South and North, the South dominate with around three or four in there. And of course, North with the one representative of Inter Miami, and then, of course, the Europeans there with the majority of the guys in the knockout stages. So, uh, just focusing on Africa now, our four representatives, they did as well as they could. Although I must say that I'll get into them forward in the video, that I was disappointed by a few of them. So let's get into it. We start with Al Ahly, who are in Group A, alongside Palmeiras of Brazil, Inter Miami of the US, and FC Porto of Portugal. And it was sadly a bit disheartening for me how they ended up performing, because they played, as much as they played good football. As I mentioned in the previous video, that the major thing that they lacked was goals, and it was not for the want of trying, but it was simply because of sheer wastefulness in front of goal, honestly. And the irony of it is that in their first two games, they create a lot of chances, and really open cut chances. Like, if you were to count big chances that they had in their first two games against Inter Miami and against Palmeiras, then I would say definitely they missed around five, six big chances. The irony of it is that in their final game against FC Porto, they end up scoring four. You wait a long time for a bus to come along, and then all of a sudden two come along at the same time. So this seems to be what happened to Al Ahly, a little bit too late for them, but the last game they ended up performing well. It's funny how they struggle to score in the first two games, but then when they get the goals, then the defense collapses. And I believe in the first two games they were slightly tighter if we were to compare the three games. Although they did concede some cheap goals against Palmeiras, very, very cheap goals, in all honesty, but it was a relatively good performance defensively for them in that game. And definitely in the first game they did really, really well defensively. So it was a bit disappointing for them to, suffer those 4 goals against FC Porto. Disappointing goals again for them. So Al Ahly of Egypt exit the competition, finishing bottom of the group, and it was simply because they failed to score their chances. Moving on to the second team in Esperance de Tunis. Now, if you do realize, I did not give the review of how Chelsea performed in their last game uh, when we played, because the game that we had played was against Esperance. So the review was always going to come here, and the review was going to be for both teams. And Esperance here, sadly, for me, they were very disappointing. In fact, it is between them and Wydad Casablanca who are fighting for the very most disappointing sides of the tournament for me. It's not because that they were wasteful, but they just, to me, uh, they tried, yes, but they didn't show enough of themselves. In all honesty, and Esperance, after, at least they ended up winning one game in beating LAFC. So at least that for me is what edges them ahead of Wydad in terms of being the poorest team in the African continent, representatives at the Club World Cup. So Esperance, they tried their best, in all honesty. Of course, the most two difficult games for them in this group was always going to be Flamengo of Brazil and Chelsea. They got beat by Flamengo 2 goals to nil, and then got walloped, in all honesty, against Chelsea. 3-0 was a scoreline, although it could have been much, much, much worse for them, because they just didn't try, and defensively they were very poor. Some of the goals that they conceded, like the first goal uh, for Chelsea, that was Tosin's goal. Uh, Free kick in there, Tosin unmarked, and the tallest person. It's just disappointing for me to see that they did not have their defensive setup right in that set piece. And then, of course, the other goals was, uh, especially the last one, was a bit very, very poor goalkeeping, in all honesty. Because the keeper should have caught that. You could see his reaction even after the goal went in. The third one, that is, and the second goal by Liam Delap. That one was as much as people praise Delap for the good technical play that he showed. I believe the three defenders could have done much, much better in that performance. So Esperance in Group B, they did well. They did good because they ended up beating LAFC and avoided the embarrassment of finishing bottom of that group. So, uh, average performance for them. If we were to grade them, I'll give them a C. And Al Ahly of Egypt, I'll also give them a C. Mamelodi Sundowns for me, the next team here, wonderful. They, for me, are the ones I've been really impressed a lot, simply because they've played their football regardless of who they came up against. Though I must say, the last game against Fluminense, you could say that Fluminense did give them respect because they sat back, they gave them the ball, and it was a bit difficult for Mamelodi to break the Brazilians down. So, uh, Mamelodi Sundowns, I've been really impressed with them, and definitely I will be watching more of them once their league resumes in South Africa. So, well done to Mamelodi Sundowns. They've earned my respect, and I am sure they have earned a lot of Europeans' respect in terms of getting viewership for more of the people to see their games. Next, we go into Wydad, who have been the most disappointing team for me, simply because yes, they had two difficult teams in their group, in Juventus and Man City, so they were always going to concede. But why I say it's been disappointing for me is because it is they had Al Ain in their group, and that was the one game that I had expected them to win, because there is no way you should be getting beat by Al Ain of they should be from Qatar, if not Saudi Arabia. So uh, that's where I was very disappointed by Wydad in that final game. I believe that was played last night. Yes, last night. And how they played was a bit disappointing for me. They got an early goal and then just seemed to lose their heads. Defensively, they were very, very poor. I hope that in the next time that the competition happens that's in the next 4 years, and they will come back a better team and ready to tackle the tournament in a far much better way. So if I were to grade Wydad, then I will give them a strong D, and I will expect much better from them in the next edition of this competition. Uh, Mamelodi Sundowns, of course, they were going to get an A. So, as I close, I love to say that for all the African teams that at least that showed up for this competition, they did not, of course, go back empty-handed. Uh, the prize money that they get, because I believe for all the four teams, just for getting into the group stage, they will be getting 2 million US dollars, and I believe that will be huge, huge, huge injection of cash that will help even grow them, grow them as a club financially. That money will do a good job in helping them a lot, especially for the Esperance, Wydad from Morocco, and Al Ahly of Egypt. So next time, I believe they'll be back in this competition. They'll do much better. I believe Mamelodi they got an extra 1.5 because of the win that they had in the earlier group stage, and then of course the also draw that they had against Fluminense. So I believe that they will be coming back even now the next stage, looking to get through to the last 16. So group stages are done, all African teams are out, and we move into the last 16, where we'll talk more about that competition and everything that has happened. So otherwise, guys, that's the end of the video. You know the drill, that like, share, subscribe, and I will get to see you all next week. So bye, take care, and have a lovely day.